Jude, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. It's such a pleasure to be here, Jamie.
We are sharing Jude's story at 41.
Sure. Yeah, it was funny because I was due on the Friday and had some contractions come on the Saturday and they just faded away. And we did our sort of we hadn't quite completed like the visualizations that we had wanted to, me and my partner, and we hadn't done all the meditations that the doula had given us. So we did them that night. And then we'd completed our preparation. The following day was very quiet. I think I did some aromatherapy on my feet and went to bed messaging my family, just saying, nothing's happened today. I'm going to bed. Yeah, don't stay up. And lo and behold, an hour later, contractions started. And maybe an hour or two in, I went to the bathroom, had a massive vomit, and purged both ends very dramatically. And that's very much like an ayahuasca purge that can happen. And
Yeah.
it felt absolutely like I was entering into another realm. And I was just, it was very clear that I'd entered labor. And so I knew that when I'd entered labor, I needed to go into sort of an ayahuasca journey and I would treat it as such. Sort of once you go in, you can't come out. You have to get through. You have to stop resisting. You have to surrender. I entered that process and it was clear that I'd entered it.
How did it go?
I called my mum, who, as I mentioned, lives down the road, and asked her to come round. And I let my partner go upstairs and rest. And I actually so value those first few hours because I was with my mum in my bed with a hot water bottle between my legs, and the lights were dimmed, and I had a playlist on that my friends from my baby shower had put together. That was on, and I was with my mum, and we were just quiet, and I was just in my own kind of space. But I'll cherish that experience forever. I think it's such a special moment, really, to share with your mum. And things started to really ramp up in the middle of the night. And so I called my partner down, got my mum to go home and have some rest herself, and then called the doula. And I remember as my mum was doing a handover to my partner and just getting him up to speed with where things were at, she was like, she's been in labor now for 5 hours. The average will go on for like a further 18. My mum's a doctor, and I could not. I think I lost it. Why would you say that? I do not need to hear that. I was so upset with her. I was thinking like at that stage, like another 18 hours. Are you kidding? Oh my God. I sent her home and got my partner to call the doula, and the doula said she'd be there in a couple of hours. She lived an hour or so away. And so at that point, I just re-went back in, and when the doula arrived, I don't think I even saw her for 2 hours. My eyes were completely closed. I was completely in my own world. I could hear her voice, and she was definitely coaching me to ride the waves of the contractions. I was very much there doing that, but I never opened my eyes. She knelt beside me and said, I think your baby's coming soon. We need to make a decision. Are you going to have her here or are you going to go to the hospital? And my mum had come home by this point, and being the doctor, she was like, we are going to hospital right now, right now.
She made the decision for you.
She made the decision. And the plan had always been to go to the hospital. I never wanted a home birth. It was my first birth. I'm a doctor. I wanted to be in hospital. But in the moment, getting to the hospital felt extremely daunting. I live in an apartment on the second floor. And I remember my mum having said before, how are you going to get down the stairs? That concern had been really quite forefront, like through a lot of my labor, like how am I going to get down the stairs? I had to get down those stairs and just about managed, got ourselves into a Toyota Yaris. Now, I don't know if anyone here knows the size of a Toyota Yaris with a baby seat in it that had to fit me and the doula in the back seat and my partner and my mum in the passenger and driver's seats. So to say it was tight is a total understatement, and we definitely hadn't thought through those logistics because we also live on a cobbled street. We live in a cobbled street.
Oh
So
no.
I'm now leaving my apartment at 7 in the morning in a tourist trap. So we've already got about 100 people on my cobbled street taking photographs, and I'm in quite manky pajamas trying to crawl into this Toyota Yaris and make our way up the cobbled hill to get to the hospital. A journey we had done quite a few times, but a journey that my partner thought we shouldn't do the same way. He thought he would outsmart Google Maps and take us on a different way to avoid the traffic. So what should have been a 40-minute journey, which is already quite a journey, turned into an hour and 20 minutes.
Ugh.
And it was hard to stay composed because we also hit roadworks. We hit roadworks. And my mum wouldn't go into a bus lane or take any shortcut. We have a quite heated car. The doula just going, I think we just need to go in the just go in the bus lane, Maria. Just go in the bus lane. Just turn into the bus lane, Maria. We do need to get there, Maria. My partner just going, no, turn right, just turn right, and ending up in a back street with cobbles again, and just going, and me just going, why are we not there? Like, why are we not there? Like, how are we still in this car? So we get there and just get straight into triage, and I had some blood on the towel that I had been sitting on while in the car, which meant that I had to go straight into triage and be assessed, and it did spark a chain reaction. The blood actually is just was just excessive show, so it didn't really mean anything. But anyone who knows what happens when you go into a hospital and a chain reaction of decisions are made, I had to be really assertive and I had to, while staying in my process, to try and guide myself into a situation I wanted to be in. However, I was 10 centimeters on arrival, which is what I wanted. That had always been my intention. When I got to the hospital and I found out I was 10 centimeters, I was so relieved. I was in triage in bright lights with many people asking me many questions, which was very disorientating. And I was determined to stay in my process and follow through with the labor. So switching from my doctor to my mother mode was quite interesting. There was such a distinct moment because I remember being surrounded by a lot of people who were making decisions around the meaning of this blood on the towel. And I just felt like, why is no one getting her out of me? I couldn't understand why someone wasn't getting her out of me. Like, why is someone not cutting her out of me? Why is somebody not getting her out of me in my mind? I'm just totally confused about it. There's so many people here and they're doing so many things, but why is nobody getting her out of me? And I suddenly realized I had to get her out of me. Like, I realized that was what I had to do. And I had been resisting to push because I was still in the triage room and decisions were being made and it was all unclear and I didn't really know what was happening, where we were going, why we were here, because I'm hearing so many conflicting pieces of information that I'm trying to piece together medically, but I'm also trying to come back to my contractions. Once we got into the labor suite and I very much needed to push, they were trying to put monitors on, and my fierce mama bear was just like, you need to get them off me and I need to push. there was slight concern over her heart rate. So doctors had come into the room and they said, Mama, you need to push with everything you've got. Otherwise, we're going to need to use the suction forcep. I was like, okay, this is what I need to do. So we got me on the bed and I just gave everything I got. And then they said, your membranes are still intact. Can we rupture your membranes? And I was like, yes, rupture my membranes. My waters hadn't broke. So I had been pushing the baby in the amniotic fluid in the sac out. And as soon as they'd ruptured the membranes, my partner was like, I can see her ear. I can see her ear. So she was right there. She was right there. And I just needed another push. Babies being born in their sac is a spiritual protection for them. I just knew we'd been protected this whole time. And we just ruptured them right at the end to get her out safely. I was just so ecstatic to have her out. And yeah, it was the most euphoric I've ever felt.
Yeah. So it only took two pushes to get her out, basically.
I don't know if it was two pushes, but it wasn't many pushes. Once they ruptured the membranes, she was there. She was
Okay.
she was there. So I'd felt her descend and I'd tried my best not to resist, but it's a horrible feeling, or it's a very strange feeling. It doesn't feel right. And I was resisting because I was confused about what was going on. Once I relaxed into that, she was descending. The nursing staff were so keen to get her out that every push and contraction that I was having at the end, they were accentuating. So then they would come and massage and keep the contraction going for longer, which I was furious about. Stop. But luckily, it only did take a couple of those, and
Hmm.
she was thankfully out. And yeah, I was on cloud nine, literally cloud nine.
Yeah. So did the midwife take your baby and then put it on your chest?
She just came straight onto my
Okay.
chest. Yeah, she came straight on my chest. And I was just, yes, my partner was shocked because I didn't cry or anything. I was just so happy. I was so happy to see her. I was like, oh my gosh, you're here. Just could not believe she was here and that we'd just done it. That we did it. We did it. Couldn't believe it. So yeah, we did skin to skin straight away. She fed straight away and she opened her eyes straight away. She has these beautiful long eyelashes and they were fluttering away. And yeah, most joyful moment.
Jude, thank you so much for sharing your story.
Thank you so much for having me and honestly giving me the opportunity to revisit that magical time. It was such a pleasure to share it with you.